welcome. We are back after a week break and ready to bring the show to you, man. It's late on a Saturday night, July 4th weekend. But we're getting the show knocked out, getting ready. A couple weeks from now, we will be at a Comic Palooza doing a show. 10 a.m. Saturday morning at Comic Palooza is when we're doing our live show. And we will be talking 30 years of Batman Returns, the weird, the wild, and the wacky of that crazy-ass Batman movie. And I just said a curse word. Comic Palooza is family-friendly. The show is family-friendly, too, despite a few F-bombs here and there. I would say we're like PG-15, right? You know, we say a few bombs.
That's fair.
Every now and then we're well into rated R territory. But, you know, for the most part, we keep it fairly clean. You know, and but that's okay. But I'm kind of excited, you know, for Comic Palooza. You know, I wish the guest lineup was better than it is. It feels like they were going to announce something else, like maybe Carl Urban or somebody to go with Anthony Starr as Homelander. But now they've already put out their programming and everything on their app. So I'm wondering if there is going to be nothing else added to the show with 2 weeks to go. We'll see. But we will be there doing a live show from the show floor at Comic Palooza. It's like our 6th, 7th straight year doing a show there. I'm just kind of, you know, honestly, I'm just kind of looking forward to it. Just to do a live show with you guys. I mean, everything else is gravy, but to get to hang with you fellas and do a show, it should be fun. It should be a good time. And that is, of course, we are the Rebel Radio Podcast. And this is Mark.
This is Matt. Long.
How are you guys this week? Doing all right? Ready to rock and roll?
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah, I mean, I am too. Yeah, I've been okay. I am in the midst of a 3-day weekend. Today was just the first day, so that's kind of nice to get a little break. But I might take the kids to see the Minions movie tomorrow. I think they want to see it, so I might go. And it's been well reviewed, and it's making a lot of money this weekend, so I might take them to see it, get them out of the house for a little bit. But other than that, yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll too. We took last week off. Matt had some family business, and that's okay. So we took the week off, and we have a lot to talk about today. So I think we want to get into this, man. You know, get into the show early. We download this where we tell people what we watched, streamed, and watched over the last couple of weeks. And there's a lot to talk about because we have not even talked Obi-Wan Kenobi finale yet. So we're going to talk about that here in a minute. I mean, I guess I'll go first. I haven't started. I haven't gone first couple weeks. I've watched a few things in the last couple weeks. I got a few movie reviews to go by. I took the kids to see Lightyear a couple weeks ago.
How was it?
It was good. I honestly think that it's just missed marketing by Disney. I think they didn't market this film maybe correctly. You know, now Tim Allen has jumped on board saying, oh, there's no connection to his buzz. And people are making it sound like I've read headlines like Tim Allen blasts new Lightyear movie. No, he doesn't. He doesn't blast the movie. He said he enjoyed the movie. He just said he felt it didn't have a connection to his films. That's all he said. It's just funny how people take the headlines. And he's right. It did feel like, I think people went into expecting a direct spinoff from the Toy Story movies. And it's not. It's its own movie. It tells the story of Buzz Lightyear. And that's what it is. So it's a spinoff, but not a direct spinoff. And it was good. It's well animated. It was a good adventure story. My 7-year-old Wyatt, he really liked it a lot. He really enjoyed it. The whole same-sex kiss is much ado about nothing. It's so subtle in the movie, you hardly even notice it. Do I still feel it needs to be in a kid film? No, it doesn't. But it was fine. It was part of the story. It really wasn't that big of a deal. But overall, I enjoyed the film quite a bit. I mean, Pixar, rarely do they ever make a movie that's not, you know, highly enjoyable and fun. And this is right up there with the rest of their movies. And so I recommend it. You know, I would watch it, especially if you're a fan of the Toy Story movies. It's good stuff. I watched that. Then I saw Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe on Paramount Plus. And that's a hell of a good time. Even if you just do the 7-day trial for Paramount Plus to watch it, it's worth it. It's hilarious. It's funny. Mike Judge, I think he's brilliant, man. He comes back with these characters. Yeah. He comes back with these characters 20 years later and makes a film just as entertaining as it was back in the day. Talk about woke culture. There's a great woke culture moment in this movie where they kind of make fun of it without stepping on anyone's toes, and it's brilliantly done. It's hilarious. I really enjoyed it. It was a great hour and a half watching Beavis and Butthead return onto, maybe not the big screen, but my 70-inch screen at home, I guess. I really liked it. In fact, I've wanted to go back and watch it again. It's juvenile as fuck, but it's Beavis and Butthead. You want it to be juvenile as fuck, and I think that's what makes it great that Mike J. Judge came back and wasn't afraid to be just as juvenile and just as funny, but also still culturally relevant, I think, even 20 years later with some of the jokes he puts into this movie, and it was well done. I watched that. Then I watched on Netflix, I watched The Gentleman with Matthew McConaughey and Charlie Hunnam. It's from Guy Ritchie. It's kind of his return a couple years ago. The movie came out in 2019, and it kind of passed me by. It's kind of his return to crime dramas, and really good, actually. I really liked it a lot. Hugh Grant's in the film, and he is not the Hugh Grant everyone remembers playing romantic leads. He's kind of the sleazeball scumbag guy in it, and I was like, wow, this is pretty funny. But it's good. I just felt like watching something different on Netflix, and I came across that and watched The Gentleman. And then I have not watched the this weekend's episode of The Boys yet, but I did watch the very, I guess, infamous Hero-gasm episode based on the comics, and I'll just say, wow, I saw a burnt dick, and I don't know what else to say about that episode other than the show just keeps throwing things at you that make you go, what the fuck? But yet I keep watching it. That's just the episode. It's funny. They made a lot about in the media. I'm sure you guys saw it all over social media, made a lot of big deals about this episode and how vulgar it was and how out there it was. And I really didn't feel it was all that bad, except for a couple of scenes. There's lots of, I'll just say white stuff in this episode. And I don't mean white people stuff. I mean white stuff, if you know where I'm going with that. And it was like, wow, that's gross, and I can't believe they got away with that. And then there's burnt dick, literally. But there's a really great line from Starlight in it. I about fell out of my chair laughing. And I'm going to spoil it, the episode where she's like, oh yeah, he just gets down to that pussy and looks it all up. Because it's so out of character for her character in the show. So it just catches you off guard and you're like, shit, she actually said that? I was laughing so hard. But the show just continues.
Christian girl that grew up in the Bible Belt and became a superhero. For her to say stuff like that, just hilarious. It reminded me of whenever she's talking about Supersonic earlier in the season, and she's like, we only did anal. And I was like, what the fuck?
This season has been, honestly, I think it's the best season of the show so far. It's really good. The show has found its niche. It's found where it wants to be, and it's been a really good season. And only next week's episode is the finale, and I'll definitely while I'm off this 3-day weekend, I'll get this week's episode watched. Other than that, Obi-Wan, which we'll save for a minute when we all talk about, because I know there's a lot to talk about with that Obi-Wan episode. Did you guys get a chance to watch anything this week? I did watch Guardians. I usually don't mention when I watch old stuff like Matt does, but I did watch Guardians of the Galaxy because I don't know. I just felt like watching Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's funny if you watch it in 4K on Disney Plus with the IMAX enhancement. Man, even just for 7-8 years later, some of the CGI is like, ooh, it's rough. You can see where they saved some money on some of those Marvel films. They weren't sure if they were going to be hits or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I went back and watched it. Most of the movie still looks good, but there's some really rough patches of CGI in Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just like, wow, this did not look that bad just a few years ago. But, I guess that's what 4K will do to you. So.
Yeah. You want to go, Matt?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I did watch. I went ahead and watched the latest episode of The Boys, episode 7, and I don't want to spoil it for you, Mark, so I won't say much about it. But wow, this film, it's there's a big reveal in it, so go and watch it. Jensen Ackles is just awesome as this Captain America-esque Vought superhero.
I like because you got to see his ass.
That was pretty funny. Jackie's gonna like that when she sees it. She's a big Supernatural fan, but I've gotten her back into it. She just finished season 2, so she's gonna start season 3 any day now. I told her she's gotta see it, but I've enjoyed the series so far. The Hero-gasm is funny, and they make a little mention of Stormfront. Where Jensen Ackles mentions that him and Liberty started it way back in the day. So Liberty is also code word for Stormfront. That was her name way back, and from season 2. But other than that, I didn't watch all of Beavis and Butthead. I watched half of it, or maybe a little bit more than half. But it's hilarious. I was very surprised that they were able to make the same types of jokes, but in 2022, and it's still just as funny and still very entertaining. And Mike Judge, he just knows how to finesse it, and it's good. I'm so far I may like it more than Do America. Who knows? But it's really brilliant. It's brilliantly done.
Did they? Because it's tighter than Do America. It's a tighter story.
Yeah. And I like.
Did they review any music videos?
Not yet. I don't.
Like in the show.
Yeah.
No, not in the movie.
I like that they mentioned some movies in there. They mentioned some movies as of recent, because there's a multiverse thing that comes up, and they're like, "Have you seen the latest Spider-Man film?" And they're like, "No." And they're like, "Oh well, this would have made the explanation so much easier."
Right.
But it's the same old thing. They think they're going to score, and the whole thing is about them scoring again. It's like the same type of movie.
But it works.
And it works. It works, man. It's it's the same move, but it's good. It's a good play, So they run it again, and it's hilarious. I ended up catching the part 2 of Stranger Things, and it's great. I loved this season, and man, it's hard to believe that we're going to end season 5, but 11's already 18. So it's put that in perspective. These kids are no longer kids.
I've watched the first 2 episodes. That's it so far. I've been behind on it.
Oh, on season 4, just the first 2 altogether?
Yeah.
It's a build-up.
You hear the rumor that I just take it as a rumor that Taika Waititi is considering Millie Bobby Brown for his Star Wars movie. But
as Princess Leia.
But then Taika Waititi comes and says that they're still in the early drafts of the script, that the movie's still long. He's still a bit away from doing it. So I don't know. I think it's just a rumor.
She does look like kind of like Carrie Fisher-esque with the double honey buns.
Yeah, but he's not doing. He already said his movie is a completely new original story.
Yeah, okay. No Skywalker involved.
Yeah. No Skywalker involved. Oh yeah, that's right. He wants to.
But I'm starting to come around to him more, man. The more, I may not like all his like, I don't like What We Do in the Shadows, but as a person, man, like, he's such a dynamic personality. Seeing the few interviews he's doing for Thor and stuff, and he's just like, he seems like you could have a beer with him. He just seems like this really
guy. Yeah.
Have you seen Jojo Rabbit yet?
Not yet. I want to. It was on Netflix or something. They took it off. I'm hoping they put it back on.
I saw it on HBO Max.
Maybe it's on there. Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe it's on there. I saw that almost a year ago.
I do like The Hunt for the Wilder People. That was good.
Yeah. Yeah, Sam Neill was great in that one.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
I do want to see Eagle and Shark. I love What We Do in the Shadows. It's just my favorite kind of dry humor that I love about it. My favorite scene is still the swearwolves part.
See, I didn't like that movie, and I saw that before I even knew who he was, and I watched it. And I'm like, I didn't like it. I just thought it was really stupid.
The TV show was really good.
Yeah, well. That's just me. I just didn't like it.
And then lastly, Doctor Strange started, became streaming on Disney Plus, and I went ahead and checked it out again because I went and saw it by myself because I wanted to go see a movie by myself, and then Jackie saw it by herself, but we never took the kids, so I was like, we watched it had a movie night, and I like it better on the big screen. I feel like it's lost a little bit of its flair, but I still like the Sam Raimi elements in it. I just like how it felt like he was trying to make an Evil Dead 4 with an evil book and evil spirits and possession, and I just think it's just cool seeing Sam as a big Sam Raimi film.
I've been kind of meaning to give it a second viewing, just haven't had a chance to yet.
Still entertaining, but I guess it's more of a B+ kind of film, all things considered. But that was about it for me. No old movies for me this time. Just I had enough subscription stuff to watch.
Cool.
Oh, I did all that long ago. It's just funny, Matt. I'm sure you've done this with the kids before. Like, I put on Sing 2 on Netflix for the kids, and my intention was to put it on for them and go make breakfast, and I ended up sitting there watching the entire thing with them. I'm like, wow, I just sat and watched all, because, geez, it was really entertaining. It's actually really good. And it even caught me as an adult. As an adult, it caught me up into it, and I ended up watching the whole thing. I was like, wow.
That's true.
But it really is actually very good.
I like the first one.
Yeah. If you like the first one, you'll like this one. It was very entertaining. But yeah, it was just funny. I didn't even intend to watch it. Before I knew it, I watched the whole thing with the kids.
Nice.
Long, what did you check out, man, before we get into heavy in depth into Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Well, this week I plunked down some big money on a new video card for my computer. And so I decided to buy a couple of games to go along with it to push the hardware. I bought the Guardians of the Galaxy game on the Steam, and it's not the Telltales one where it's like story based.
Right, the new one, yeah.
Yeah, it's the new one. It's a fun game. I really like it. It's funny. The humor kind of gets a little annoying sometimes because sometimes I feel like the writers try to be like James Gunn. Yeah, but it feels a little forced on the humor. But other than that, the combat, the graphics are gorgeous in the game. So, what else did I get? I finally bought Aliens Fire Team Elite. It's a three-person co-op game. That's a really fun game. So it's me and two other buddies playing online, and we're going through a mission map. It's kind of like Left 4 Dead, but with alien xenomorphs. And we're trying to go through this map and try to survive all these waves of xenomorphs. And it's a very fun game. And the game has classes as well. So you could go in as a demolitionist or heavy weapons guy or a medic or
sniper
or an engineer.
Engineer.
I don't know, man. I don't think being a sniper is effective in this game, considering it's like you're trying to kill fast-moving aliens.
Yeah, probably don't get a chance to to lead.
Right, they're really fast. Just like really, the number one weapon to me is either the machine gun or the shotgun.
Yep.
And I've racked up a lot of one hit kills with the shotgun quite a bit. Yeah, it's a pretty fun game, pretty fast paced, and I finally saw Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, yeah,
that's a very good movie. Matt, you saw it too, right?
We were gonna rent it and watch it, but I chose the Nick Cage movie instead.
Yeah, I think it's only out for buy still. I don't think it's out for rent yet.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad you finally watched it along. It really is a great, great movie.
Yeah, I give it an A. for sure.
I think now that you saw it, and I'll stay spoiler free because Matt hasn't seen it, but I remember in my original review, I think I said my only small beef with it was the ending was a little bit dragged out. Did you feel that way too? It's like, okay, I loved it, but also it's like, okay, let's get to the end. That's the only thing I felt about it was like the last 15 minutes felt a little just like, okay, you're pulling strings here. You know, other than that, I loved it.
No, I felt it was the right pace personally. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see how she was going to use the different method of resolving the mob of people in front of her target, and I thought it was well paced. Personally, I felt the movie didn't drag. There was a couple of psych, this is not the real ending type of thing, but other than that, I felt like still a well-made movie.
Definitely.
It's really it almost pushes it really hard. It's really pushing the whole believability of it all.
Sure.
And the whole multiverse thing, but it works. It just works, you know. So.
Yeah, I mean, remember I said like you get kind of this weirdness and this kind of like you said unbelievability, but it's almost like they know when to stop and they bring it back around. It's like you said, it works. They never take it too far. They come really close, but then they pull it back in. And when I say they, totally, I mean Daniel directed it.
It definitely feels like a fearless, unrestrained movie. You know, like there's no studio interference getting in the way of what the directors wanted to shoot on film.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very well made movie. I think it's an easy A personally because it's so unique. It has its own voice. Yeah. Yep. And the action scenes are really well done.
Really well done. They did a lot of to save money. They did a lot of they kept a very small team of computer graphic artists and stuff and did some of themselves for the special effects.
Yeah.
And they look great, you know.
There's more multiverse in this than the Doctor Strange multiverse movie.
Absolutely. Yep.
You know, and I feel like I'm just it's so remarkable how they shot so many scenes in this film with what they had. You know, it's like the one moment they're outside, the next moment they're inside the office, the next moment they're in the alleyway, the next moment they're in the theater, you know, and it's just, I cannot imagine the hundreds of camera setups they had to do to shoot each
movie
scene.
Is not that I care about Oscars, but if this movie is not nominated for best editing, they're not paying, the Oscars aren't paying attention to films. You know, I thought that too, like this is extremely well edited, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But I highly recommend it, man. I want to hear your thoughts on it so that I can start throwing down some references.
I'll have to watch it this week.
You watched it.
Yeah,
it is great. It's a great.
Yeah, you got a 3-day weekend, or are you working Monday, Matt?
I'm working 6 days straight, starting Sunday night.
That's rough.
But I get a 4-day weekend after.
I mean, my 3 favorite movies this year so far are Everything Everywhere All at Once, Batman, Top Gun, Maverick. I mean, those are my 3 favorite movies this year so far. I mean, no doubt.
I'll have to watch Top Gun soon.
And
they re-released it in 40X. I'm tempted.
Before we get into Obi-Wan, I want to give a quick video game review. I forgot, you reminded me long talking about video games. I did buy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge on my PS4, and it's an old school side scroller, very arcade based, like the old Ninja Turtles games, and it is a ton of fun. It's worth the $20-$25, whatever it is. Me and the boys have been playing the heck out of it. I really like that game a lot. It brings you back to the old school Ninja Turtle games, and so if you're on the fence about it,
bundled with another game.
No, that was what was confusing. This is a whole new game, and then in January, the Cowabunga collection comes out with all those Ninja Turtles games on it, all the arcade games, all the Game Boy games. So yeah, it was kind of confusing. This is its own game, and but it's a ton of fun. It's worth the $20. I feel like in just the week and a half we've had it, we've gotten our play value out of it already. So it's a lot of fun. If you're looking for some old school Ninja Turtles action, really enjoying that playing that with the boys. So it's fun. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, the season finale was about a week and a half ago. And obviously we're going full spoiler on this because it's been out. You've had time to watch it. And, my overall review of the Obi-Wan series was I think it was really good. I still feel like I would have loved to have seen an Obi-Wan movie, but I was okay with what we got. But the finale definitely brings it around full circle. The duel between Obi-Wan and Anakin makes this episode worth the wait for everything. And it brings a lot of closure and a lot of connections to the original trilogy and closure from the loose ends of, not that there were loose ends, but closure from the end of Revenge of the Sith, I guess you could say, as Obi-Wan comes to terms with what he's, faced, all these years of having to, he thought he had killed his student, his Padawan, and once he finds out he's alive, all the pain comes back because Obi-Wan still feels like he failed him, and Anakin, in this the emotion of that fight was just incredible to me, and the fact that Anakin tells him, like, you didn't fail me, you didn't kill me, I chose, basically I chose this, I killed him myself, and it's almost like as dark as Anakin is and Darth Vader is, it's almost like he forgave Obi-Wan, saying, no, you didn't do this, I chose this. But just, man, it was one of the best hours of Star Wars ever. I mean, I thought, this finale. The Reva storyline came around full circle too. Even though I'm not so sure like why she thought going after Luke was a good idea. That was a little bit like came out of nowhere a bit.
Yeah. Kill a son.
But it added,
you didn't even know he had.
Yeah, it was kind of bizarre, but it added a good element. Gave Owen and Beru something to do with a cool fight in their house, trying to keep Luke alive from Reva. But it was a little strange. But it didn't take away from the episode as a whole. And that's my initial thoughts on this episode.
I just like how the Emperor says, hey, are you moved past this yet? We got an empire to run, basically.
I hadn't even gotten to the cameos yet.
Yeah. What else? This is a solid. Hey, Obi-Wan finally had Darth Vader finally had the high ground. And he just stood there not knowing what to do.
Oh my God. I was watching it with Jake and I thought he was going to say, I have the high ground now or something like that, but I guess that'd be too cheesy. I love cheese. That would have been good cheese.
Maybe they did voice it, but they kept that moment. They deleted that voice.
Maybe so. Maybe we'll get a behind the scenes, and.
Well, yeah, it's possible. I think I read was it Ewan or someone already said that there was a lot more filmed that they didn't put into the episode. So it's possible,
Yeah,
that was funny. I'm glad you mentioned that, Long. I was like trying to remember from 2 weeks ago, but yeah, that was a funny to me. Just mentally, just thinking, oh, he's got it now. He's got the high ground. But it was cool seeing his the other side of his face. Ahsoka took out one side of his mask in Rebels, and Obi-Wan takes out the other side in Kenobi.
Oh no, you would flip flop that. Ahsoka took out the other side because at this point she hadn't fought him yet. Remember?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And and then Owen and Peru. I thought they were going to get the better of Reva since she was injured, even with the blasters, but no, luckily she stopped herself. But
yeah,
it was a good ending. It was a good arc for her and her character.
Yeah, and the final moments of the show were fantastic with Ben and Leia. It makes a lot of sense now why she named her child Ben. I mean, I think it adds that element people may not realize. And that little actress was just fantastic. We've talked about her before, just really good, heartwarming moments with her and Ewan. I thought it was perfect. It made me, I have a little more respect for Bail Organa. I always felt he was just sort of a boring politician, but this made me like his character more. And I look back at the prequels and I appreciate him more and what he's done. It obviously gives the destruction of Alderaan a lot more meaning.
Yep.
And then we have the great cameo at the end as Liam Neeson came back to play Qui-Gon Jinn and reveals himself as a Force ghost to Obi-Wan. And that was cool. There have been a lot of rumors on the internet about that, and it was one of those rumors that actually came true. How many of these rumors don't ever come true? I mean, gee whiz, almost every single Marvel film, none of them come true.
Yeah, it's like when you see stuff on comicbook.com, and it's like, oh, Liam may reprise his old role, and you're like, man, that would be really cool if it happened, but it's just one of those things that's likely not going to happen, but it did.
Right.
And real cool, man. Real cool moment.
Oh yeah, it's a nice little double meaning joke there. It's about time you showed up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fan speak and the character speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
that was cool.
It was swell. That's for sure.
Hello there to Luke was nice. Hello I thought that was a cool nod to the famous meme and everything.
He said the thing.
He said the thing. All three versions. Hello there, my friend.
But overall, man, it was just very enjoyable. There's already talks about Ewan and Hayden both said they come back for a season 2. My problem with that is I don't have a problem with a season 2, but if you're going to do a season 2, you have to leave the Vader thing alone. The way they ended their story with Vader, that's it. You don't need more Vader until he meets him on the Death Star. I think that they concluded that story. Yeah, I think
Yeah, I'm sure they left Reva alive for a reason. So I'm sure that'll work. And I'm kind of looking forward to that. It's rumored that Hayden Christensen's also in Ahsoka, but I wonder in what form, since it's spaced after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, it would have to be flashbacks, I would think, of some sort.
Either that or Force Ghost.
Yeah. So, that would be cool. But yeah, overall, just a good. It was the nice thing about it was just seeing Ewan back in the role, man. It's just it's like watching an old friend again on screen. I think and I think that's what was cool about it. And he's excellent as Obi-Wan Kenobi and pays nice tribute to Alec Guinness and just does a great job with the role. And it was a lot of fun, man. I really enjoyed it. I'm sure I'll probably watch it again. I'll sit down and watch all 6 episodes. I'm sure at some point, in the future. But I liked it quite a bit. I think overall I give the series a pretty solid A. I think it did its job to tell the story of what Obi-Wan was doing on Tatooine all those years ago.
Yeah, I have to agree.
I think the small beef I had with it was the other Inquisitors. Like they just sort of disappear in the last couple of episodes. And then you make the big deal about bringing the Grand Inquisitor back, and then in that final episode, Darth Vader basically looks at him and tells him, "Don't tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want to fucking do." I mean, basically. And that's it. We don't really see the Grand Inquisitor again. It's like, okay, so you brought him back just to be told off by Vader like his bitch, which he was Vader's bitch. I mean, did y'all notice that? It's like, oh, okay, that's it. So, but again, if they do a season 2, who knows what they'll do with those characters. So, but if they don't do a season 2, I'm fine with that as well. I think it served its purpose. But you're right though. I was thinking about the rumor thing, like you said. These rumors hit on comicbook.com, these pages, and you're just like, you read them, and sometimes you think, oh, that's interesting, and sometimes you roll your eyes at them. But then sometimes there could be truth behind them. Like I really do believe that they are going to introduce Doctor Doom in Black Panther 2. If you've ever read Marvel Comics over the years, it makes sense. And that's been a strong rumor. So I think that's probably going to happen, so we'll see, but, more Marvel later, in the news. So let's get into today's feature film then, from director Joe Johnston. This guy, if you want to make a good adventure movie, you call Joe Johnston. I mean, that's just, he tends to make these kind of throwback adventure films. He directed Captain America: The First Avenger. He did Jurassic Park 3. At one point, Lucas considered him doing Indiana Jones 4 before Spielberg decided to come back and do Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So Joe Johnston is kind of part of that Spielberg Lucasfilm School of Directors. A lot of those guys are friends. And he made a neat little movie in 1991 for Disney called The Rocketeer, based on the pulp hero of the same name. Who wants to? Anybody want to summarize this? Anybody feel like summarizing it? Y'all know that everyone jump at once. I just was wanting to let one of you talk. You know, I mean, so basically, you go, Matt. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So while flying a biplane, Billy, actor Billy, crap.
Cliff. You just do it like Frank does it.
Yeah. So, yeah. And so Billy finds a rocket pack in a biplane and decides to make makes it into a flight suit. He even gets his buddy to make a helmet out of it. Turns out the Nazis are looking for this jetpack too. And not just any Nazi. You also have James Bond, who's in the mix too, trying to get the lovely actress, love interest in the film.
Who's a famous actor?
Yeah, who is Timothy? Yeah, who also plays a famous actor, who is a famous actor himself. Living Daylights, Timothy Dalton. He's a bad dude. Just in films and in this film too. So I think this is right after he did James Bond. But anywho. He escapes. He escapes the big ballroom scene, good shootout, and helps engage the Nazis 3 years before the U.S. enters World War I. And he becomes the Rocketeer, not the missile, not the rocket dude, or whatever nicknames they started to try and come up with, but the Rocketeer, baby. And I don't remember much about this film. I watched it once as a kid. I remember him jumping out of a plane, kind of flying around, and it's a good adventure film. There's a little bit of dialogue, and I think I know what. Looking back and now how we do this show, I think I know why I didn't. This film just didn't make it to until VHS came out. It was because Ninja Turtles 2 came out. Every kid wanted to see that, and then you had Robin Hood, so you had. Adults wanting to see Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and both of those had Robin Hood had a cool video game. This video game also didn't do that great, but you know what? Going back and watching it, it's a fun flick. It's a fun adventure flick. The score is great, and even though it had made $9 million in its opening weekend against its $35 million budget, it made more than that back in its VHS rentals and became a success on home video. They didn't, studio didn't want Billy to be cast. I keep calling him Billy. I need to look up the actor's name. I think the actor's name.
What's his name? Billy Campbell. That name is Billy Campbell.
Yeah. Billy Campbell. Yeah. They wanted more of an A-list actor, but director wanted to go with someone a little bit more unknown. And it worked out. You still had Tim Dalton and the actor that played Iron Man.
Alan Arkin, who's great.
Alan Arkin, yeah. And he's great in the film as well. Did you watch this in theaters, Mark, or did you pick?
I may have. It's been some years. I remember seeing it several times over the years. I might have seen it in theaters. I really like this movie. I like old throwback adventure movies like this. That you can kind of slide onto your DVD case next to like Indiana Jones and other great adventure movies. And I rewatching it this week. I still find it a heck of a lot of fun. I think it holds up remarkably well for what was it 20 years? Yeah, 20-year-old movie, 91.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 20 years. No, almost 30 years. Yeah. So I think it holds up well, even special effects wise. I like some of the goofiness of it because I think it works. This is Disney. This was a Disney era where they were making a lot of just kind of family-friendly films like this. They intend on this to be a franchise. At one point, a sequel was going to be made, but then the studio just kind of lost interest in it. They really didn't want to bring Billy. That was another thing. They didn't want to bring Billy Campbell back. They wanted to kind of recast the role, and people were involved were like, well, we don't want to do it without Billy, because he made the role. And so it just sort of fell apart. Now there's a recent revival that Disney might be doing a Return of the Rocketeer for Disney Plus. And now the rumor is that Billy Campbell might be back for it, but it might be a passing of the torch type of movie. So that's been a recent rumor that Disney wants to do a Return of the Rocketeer for Disney Plus. And I'd be there for that. But overall, it has Jennifer Connelly in it, who's always fantastic. I was thinking about Timothy Dalton playing the villain in this. You go back and watch Flash Gordon, and he's of course kind of a prince / not really a bad guy in Flash Gordon, but Timothy Dalton, like, I kind of see why he didn't make more than 2 Bond films. He has kind of 2 looks to him. He either looks sly and slick, or he looks evil. He doesn't have a lot of range in his acting. I can see why he wasn't a successful Bond. He's kind of a simple actor. He's okay, but he's not great. But he plays sinister well and kind of sly and evil, like he is in this movie. But I just think the movie is something you can put on, sit back and relax on a Saturday afternoon and really enjoy. It's a movie that honestly, it's such a good throwback movie that if you were to watch this movie and you don't have to think it's perfect, but if you said this movie sucks, then I kind of question, like, okay, what do you go to the movies for? It's very much an escapism type movie. You just sit back and enjoy it. And that's what Disney was good at in the 70s, 80s, and in the 90s. And now they kind of, in the late 90s and early 2000s, they kind of lost that way a little bit. But now with new presidents and stuff and their animation division buying up franchises and Marvel and stuff like that, they've kind of got back to, superior live action movie making. And but this is from that era of Disney where they were doing stuff like this. And I like it, man. I really think it's a fun movie. Long, what are your memories of The Rocketeer and watching it?
Don't like it. I don't.
Fuck off.
I don't like it. It's like the 3rd time I've seen this movie, and I can't really connect with the engage. I can't feel engaged to the story. It's a well-made movie. It doesn't suck, but I just can't connect with it for some reason. It just doesn't appeal to me.
It's the jacket.
I don't know why.
It's a jacket.
I guess it's the same thing maybe with Joe Johnston movies. I mean, his best movie arguably could be either Captain America or Jurassic Park 3. But you guys know my thoughts on Captain America. It feels like a more of a by the numbers action film, superhero film to me. That doesn't really. It's all right. I haven't really gone back to rewatching the Captain America movie. Or Jurassic Park 3 for that matter. And The Rocketeer is even less so for me personally. Like, I try to like the movie. I really do respect its action sequences. And the special effects for the time, it was all matte and green screen or blue screen at that time. And it was all right.
They used
but I just can't click with it. I just don't know why. There's something about it that I just can't connect or feel engaged to it at all. It's like I kind of get bored.
I don't know. I kind of like
honest, man.
This era of I kind of like pulp heroes and kind of what they stand for, like the Rocketeer and the Shadow and Doc Savage and Flash Gordon, and I always felt like they're very important to the mainstream current days, because without some of these heroes, we might not have some of the things we have. The Phantom is another one you could throw in there. I actually kind of like that cheesy Billy Zane Phantom movie. It's kind of fun. Long probably would hate it. The Shadow with Alec Baldwin, that was a little harder to watch. It's not maybe
I can't even finish it. The Phantom.
Yeah, the Shadow, like Alec Baldwin's cool in it when he appears as the Shadow, but the movie overall is kind of eh. The Phantom you can kind of get through. The Rocketeer you can definitely get through. The Rocketeer is probably the best out of all those kind of pulp movies. And I always feel like, looking back and watching The Rocketeer this week and reading the news that Disney Plus might do a sequel, I always feel like these are really good characters, interesting characters that I feel a lot of them are ripe for possible remakes in modern times, especially with the current craze of superhero films. I think with these stories are good, that with good directors and good stories, you can make a really great Phantom movie nowadays, or a great Rocketeer movie. there's been a lot of rumors about Flash Gordon remake for several years, and I love the original Flash Gordon, but I'm also not blind and not think that there can't be a really great big budget Flash Gordon movie made. So, and that's where I think the Rocketeer sits too. I think it's a fun adventure movie, but I think a modern remake of this could do well too. I do think that this cast in this film, from Billy Campbell to even Timothy Dalton and Jennifer Connelly, I do think they all really enjoyed making this movie, and it shows on screen. Alan Arkin is fantastic in the movie as Cliff's mentor. But Alan Arkin's always been great on screen throughout his career, and he brings a grounded reality to this movie. I think with this, I love how he just uses bubble gum just to seal the little patch on the rocket. Like, yeah, it's going to hold in the rocket fuel. It's so simple, but sure, whatever. It does. The science of the movie doesn't take itself too seriously. Like the rocket blowing out his back, how's it not going to burn his legs?
Well, they did consider like the speed of how fast the Rocketeer was going to travel. They knew, okay, he could maybe go like 100 or so miles an hour, but we can't make this thing go like 1,000
right.
Miles per hour, because then it would be super unrealistic. But they had a tough time like trying to figure out what would be realistic and what wouldn't, and they put some thought into it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the jets, it's like, yeah, how does that not like melt your ass off?
Right. I do like the costume in the helmet. I think that's really cool. I was reading today, there's a toy company that's going to do a line of retro toys based on a lot of classic pulp heroes that haven't had action figures made. They're actually doing a Rocketeer figure in the line. So I thought that was kind of cool, because I always thought that was a cool costume. I think Billy Campbell is good in the role. I could see why Disney would have wanted maybe an A-list star at the time, trying to sell this film, but I think he's fine in the role. He does a good job. And I don't think that's what costs. I don't think he cost the movie doing well. I read the same thing you read. A lot of it was because of Ninja Turtles 2 and Robin Hood. Those were both big hits, and Rocketeer kind of got lost in the shuffle of that, but made its money back on home video. What a time in the early 90s, man. You think about, this has come up time and time again, movies we've done and we talked about, and they, that weren't massive hits at the box office, but they became, like Tremors just a couple weeks ago, became a massive hit on home video. That's cool. I was talking to Michael the other day, like my son, telling me, you have no idea what it was like, Michael, to walk into the video store and you see all these movies and you want to rent them, and your mom is like, oh, we can only rent 2. We only have to watch 2, but you want to rent like 4. And Matt, you're just barely old enough to remember it, but Long worked in a video store, so he definitely remembers it. And it was cool as fuck, man. I mean, it's nice. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to turn my TV on and be able to get anything at my fingertips now. But man, there's just something special that people are never going to understand about going to the video store to discover movies like The Rocketeer or Transformers the movie or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or any of those movies in the late 80s and 90s. Commando, Terminator, some of these movies we've done on the show, man, were discovered through home video back in the late 80s and 90s. And that's what's so cool about it. And The Rocketeer fits in that category as well. And, I mean, Long worked in video store. You definitely discovered a lot of movies working in video store. Matt, what were you going to say?
I worked for Blockbuster Video. That was my first job. Yeah.
I was just thinking, I was like, man, if they, so I looked up like the top actors, 91. It's like, they could basically pick between like Tom Hanks, Brad Pitt, Keanu, Tom Cruise, or if they wanted to go with an action star, Stallone would be in the mix. It's like I could see that, or Schwarzenegger, Swayze.
See, then it becomes, but then like Schwarzenegger, Stallone, the movie becomes not as believable because those guys were like bigger than life action heroes.
You would have to have it directed by someone else.
Yeah, I think what makes Billy Campbell work is he's like an everyday guy, so he works as Cliff. Yeah. So like maybe a young Brad Pitt back then, he could have worked. Somebody that's more believable. Because because like when I was a kid. If I saw a Stallone or Arnold movie, I wouldn't believe they needed a rocket pack to kick ass. I believe when I was little, I believe those guys really good kick ass. I mean, I mean, they didn't need that. So, so I think it's okay with what they went with, who they went with. He does a good job. Also like the fact that this movie does well. I noticed watching the other day that Jennifer Connelly, she's not a damsel in distress in this movie, which is kind of good. I mean, yeah, at the end he kind of has to rescue her, but she's not screaming and doing all that stuff, So I thought that was kind of cool.
I do like the Zeppelin scene.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
Hard to not love to like.
Yeah, it's a good scene, and again, special effects wise, it holds up well. I thought it would still look good for 30 years later. But but overall, man, I think this movie is fun. It's fun to want to watch. I'm glad we rewatched it and did it on the show because I think it's a movie that not everyone remembers and should watch. You can watch it on Disney Plus. It looks good. I thought it looked good in its HD upgrade. I thought, because I know that it was on in HD on Disney Plus, and I thought it looked well. But I maybe enjoyed this movie a little bit more than some people. I give it a pretty solid B plus. Don't think it's quite A level, but I give it a B plus.
I'll give it a solid B.
I'll give it a score. But I mean, it's just me. So C plus, B minus. I don't know. I'll say B minus, so I don't get much hate on. But honestly, it feels like a C plus to me. What saves is the special effects.
Long drinking a haterade.
Man.
I don't hate it. I'm just bored of it. It is what it is. Hate's a strong word, Mark. I don't hate it.
I mean, sometimes. All right. Well, that is The Rocketeer.
Mediocre.
Let's do some news then. If I can read my... Speaking of remakes of old pulp heroes, Universal is still sitting on the Green Hornet franchise license, and after the Seth Rogen film failed to reignite it as a franchise, which is strange because I actually like that movie. I don't know why. I think that's a really fun adventure movie, The Green Hornet with Seth Rogen. But they want to reboot it with Lee Winsell, I think that's how you say his name. He directed The Invisible Man for Universal and Blumhouse Pictures over there, and they want to bring him in to reboot The Green Hornet and Kato. So there's one kind of pulp era hero that might get a reboot. So we'll see. I have not seen The Invisible Man from Lee Winsell. I actually wanted to watch it, and I just never have sat down to watch it. I do think it's on HBO Max. Maybe eventually I'll have to sit down and watch that film because I heard it was pretty good. Everyone knows that I'm not a big horror guy like Matt, but everyone knows that Blumhouse Pictures is over there doing a lot of great things with their horror franchises and things like that. And I heard good things about The Invisible Man. So we'll see if Lee Winsell gets around to making The Green Hornet and Kato. Man, who would you have play Kato?
Ooh,
like nowadays. Like
I think you'd go with an unknown.
Maybe but they did that with and I think that's part of the problem with the Green Hornet film is you had Seth Rogen who wasn't quite a big enough star, and then you go and you cast an unknown as Kato, and people are like, "Who's this guy?" And not that he was bad in the movie, but I think if you're going to do a dynamic duo like a Batman and Robin or something like this, I think you need stars for Green Lantern or Green Hornet and Kato. I just think that's fair to have both guys be stars. So we'll see. And don't say John Chow; he's getting too old.
No, Tony Jaa. You go with Tony Jaa.
I see. You gotta go a little younger. Yeah.
Go younger.
Go younger. Yeah. We'll see. Ghostbusters Afterlife 2, which is obviously not going to be the official name, is going to come out in Christmas of 2023. Jason Reitman said this past week, they had the Ghostbusters Day a couple weeks ago where they announced the film, and I guess it's a little further along than people were anticipating. Reitman says they expect to start filming as early as this fall and getting the movie done and having it out by next Christmas. So Ghostbusters franchise will continue. That's cool because I actually really liked Afterlife a lot. So looking forward to more Ghostbusters.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
And long, we're going to get more Godzilla vs. King Kong. They announced that will be out in March of 2024. which was interesting that Warner Brothers Legendary Pictures gave a release date for that, considering they don't even have a director attached to it or anything else.
They have a. Didn't they have a?
Well, nothing's official that Anthony. What's his name? Andy. What's his name?
White Wigard.
Yeah, he is not. There's no confirmation yet that he's coming back, but he wants to come back. He's made it known he wants to come back and do another one. So, I would imagine, why would you not bring him back at this point, considering Godzilla vs. Kong was fairly successful for a pandemic era release, and people generally like the movie. So I say bring him back, man. Let him do another one. That's another thing I watched when I was off this past couple weeks. I rewatched Kong Skull Island. I had only seen it the one time when it came out, and I rewatched it, and man, that is a fast paced movie. I guess I didn't realize it the first time I saw it. It jumps into the action, and it goes. It is really fast paced. Like, there's people dying at the beginning of the movie, and you're like, wait, who died? And by the time they settle down the island, you're like, oh, who's left? I didn't realize how quickly paced that movie is. But I like it, though. It's a good movie. Marvel is going to return to San Diego Comic-Con, and it's highly expected that they're going to announce Phase 5. And Kevin Feige has said a couple weeks ago that the plans for the Marvel Cinematic Universe are going to start to unfold here in the next few months, and people weren't sure what he meant by that. From what I've read about early reviews of Thor, that it doesn't really move the Marvel Universe forward that much, so don't expect anything in Thor to reveal what's going to happen. But I think Feige was probably talking about what they're going to reveal at Comic-Con. And if the rumors remain true about Black Panther 2 possibly featuring Doctor Doom and other characters, I think the next few months means Comic-Con and the release of Black Panther 2, not necessarily Thor, as we get a look as to where they're going. I honestly, if I had to guess, what's bigger than one bad villain like Thanos is multiple bad villains. I wouldn't be surprised if Phase 5 features Kang, Doctor Doom, and possibly Galactus. Right? If you're going to beat Thanos, you go big and you go bigger,
Yeah. And I heard there's a Thunderbolts movie in development too, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that wasn't that in our news a couple weeks ago? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Thunderbolts.
Which
in development.
They've been laying the groundworks for Thunderbolts for a while now, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess in about 3 weeks here we'll get a look at that, because I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to announce their upcoming plans for the next couple of years, and we'll get an idea of where the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going in this next wave of films. We'll see. I'm excited, to see it. I'm probably going to see Thor on Saturday, I would imagine. I'm sure you guys are probably going to go try to see it too this weekend, huh? So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have my tickets purchased for next Saturday, 3:00 show.
No, did you? I didn't buy them. Michael's got karate, so I'll get him. He usually is out of karate about 10:30, so I'll probably try to get them, sometime when he's that afternoon after he gets out of karate, we'll go see it. So, and the last bit of news, a trailer got released this week for the next DC animated film, Batman Superman Battle of the Super Sons. Is Batman's son Damian and Superman's son Jonathan team up to take on. It looks like Starro is going to be the bad guy from Suicide Squad. Is going to be the bad guy in this DC animated film. So I always look forward to those. The next one comes out in a couple weeks here. The new Green Lantern film. It comes out, the next DC animated film. So we've got Batman and his Superman sons in the next one this fall. So that trailer's out online if you want to watch it. And other than that, I always do a little weekly or every now and then when the news comes out, because if I didn't, my son would be upset. But the English language trailer finally hit for Dragon Ball Superhero, and it will be in theaters August 19th. And word is it's getting a fairly wide release, just like Super Broly did. That it's not going to be one of those where we have to go downtown to go fucking see it. That it's going to be a pretty wide release in America. So
nice,
Matt. I'm sure Matt will be there opening weekend too. I'm actually on vacation that week. I'm actually taking vacation that week in August that the movie comes out. So I already told the boys, don't worry, that Friday we'll go see it when it comes out, since we'll be off work that week. So it'll work out.
That's like the last weekend before school starts back up.
Yeah, that's why I'm taking. I was going to go the week of my birthday, but we're doing inventory that week, so I pushed my vacation back a week and take the week before school goes back. So it'll be a good end of the summer to go see the Dragon Ball movie with the boys. So, that's all the news this week. So let's preview next week's movie before we get out of here. A fun buddy cop movie from, when did this come out? Early 2000s, late 90s? I think it might have been right around 2000. But starring Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, because we were talking about Jackie Chan a few weeks ago on the show for something, and we realized we had never done a Jackie Chan movie that I can remember doing. So we thought we would do Rush Hour.
If you want the girl back alive, listen and do not talk. The drop will be made tonight, 11 p.m.
The amount will be $50 million.
$50 million? And who you think you kidnapped, Chelsea Clinton?
Detective James Carter loved his job just a little too much.
You destroyed half a city block.
That block was already messed up.
And you lost a lot of evidence.
Still got a little bit left.
But the job got a little too dangerous.
You have 29 minutes left.
I got everything under control. Papa!
I want to speak with my daughter. I was about to get his daughter back and you screwed it up.
I would like one of my people to help.
Now it's time to bring in the master.
Please tell me you speak English. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? I don't want no partner, I don't need no partner, and I ain't gonna never have no partner. Did Kojak have a partner?
Yeah, the fat guy.
Did Columbo have a partner? No. You put your own bag in the back. I'm not a sky cat.
Beach Boy.
Oh, hell no. Don't you ever touch a black man's radio, boy. Yeah.
They're two cops with nothing in common.
Do it again. Like this.
Except the case.
Hello.
You have one more chance.
They can't walk away from.
Agent Carter is very passionate about finding your daughter.
Damn! Which one of y'all kicked me?
From New Line Cinema. The fastest hands in the East.
Wow!
Meet the biggest mouth in the West.
Just received a threat on the building. We ask you please exit the building. Do not panic. Did you hear what I just said? Get the hell out of here. It's a bomb in the building.
Jackie Chan.
I can't hold that anymore!
Just hang on, man. I'll be right back.
Chris Tucker.
FBI. Take a picture. It's okay. Wait a minute.
Rush Hour.
We can hang in my crib. I will show you my hood.
What the hell did you just say?
And it's been a long time since I've watched this movie. I do remember liking it and enjoying it. Were there three of them total or four of them? How many did they end up making?
Three.
Just three.
Three.
It came out in 1998.
I think they've been talking about doing a fourth one for years, but it never happened. I remember the first one being the best one. So we'll go back and we'll watch it this week, and we'll talk Rush Hour next week's show, and should be a fun episode. I remember it being a very funny movie, very good action adventure movie. So I always thought Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan had a very good dynamic with each other in this movie, and should be a good one to watch. But that's all we got this week. Go to rebelradiopodcast.com where you can find all the latest and follow us on social media. And until next time, before Matt falls asleep over there, this has been Mark.
And Matt.
This is long.
And remember, as always, just go there and do it.
And do it.